This video is brought to you by patreon.com/worsttake. Get access to exclusive live streams and Discord servers, on-screen shoutouts, and early access to some videos when you join now. Help make sure that we can continue to make content like this by supporting the Patreon. Links are in the description down below.
All right, so I want to talk about Jameis Winston's film, and I want to talk about it from three different angles, right? We're going to talk about some of the personal failings of the execution of what was called by Jameis, which certainly was, I think, the driving force in what was a poor offensive performance for the Cleveland Browns. Jameis was simply gun shy at times, and at other times, he was inaccurate. Other times he didn't see certain players in coverage when he probably should have seen them, or other times the Chargers just did a really good job covering him. They fooled him, or they just did a really good job in coverage or made a play. Another thing to talk about with the failure of the Browns offense this week, especially the passing offense, is the lack of plays being made from this team. Look, the pass protection is not great in this game. Jameis Winston's decision-making is not great this day. Jameis Winston's ball placement is not great in this game. But I think you could have overcame that and at least been competitive in this game if your skill players stepped up, made some plays. Unfortunately, there are a number of points that I believe were left on the board that were there to be made that these wide receivers just didn't come down with. Another element of this is wasn't in love with some of the play calling in this game. Now, there's a lot of opportunities for plays in this tape, so it's not like the play calling was garbage all game. There were opportunities for Jameis to make plays in this game pretty consistently, but in some crucial moments, especially on 3rd and 4th down, I just was not in love with what the Browns were calling in those moments. So understanding that, yeah, Jameis was the driving force behind this, and there are other problems here with the Cleveland Browns. Let's look into this film. Let's see what Jameis did well. Let's see what Jameis struggled to do. Let's see what did not work well around Jameis to kind of get an overall view of where he's going to be. And spoiler warning, I think the offense is going to have good games versus, teams that aren't elite defenses. And when they go up and play elite defenses, they're really going to need their skill players to make some plays. The Chargers are an elite defense, skill players to make plays. The offensive output looked like it did, right? There was a chance for the offensive output to look significantly better, but we didn't make the plays necessary. But if you play against a team that does not have an elite defense, I think the Browns will be able to move the ball pretty consistently down the field, at a higher clip than they were at the beginning of the season. I think the issue is when you play these elite defenses, who on that offense is truly a playmaker? Right now, there's not one, or at least on a consistent basis. But let's look into the film. We're going to look at the good, the bad, the ugly of Jameis Winston's performance versus the Chargers. This is the first one, right? Great play by 20. So 20 does a good job, and we're looking at the north side of this play. So 20 does a good job here of making this play. Same thing with 45. Right? He just beats Jack Conklin this whole play. And then 20 leaves Jerry Jeudy, comes to Jameis. Ideally, you would like Jameis to be able to make one or two moves, but he's Jameis Winston, right? One, why pump fake there? Just throw it to Jerry Jeudy or try to throw it. I can understand not wanting to. That's kind of a high risk, though, so I take that back. But if you were going to throw it, I think maybe trying to hit this little sideline thing down here would have been a good idea, but also the Chargers were pretty good. So they did a great job playing this, right? He's playing that with enough depth to where he could jump up and make the play and also tackle Jameis. He didn't bite up so hard that it was an easy lane there for Jameis to throw. And even this linebacker who's on David Njoku does a great job of recovering. Gets even with David with his hips, and then he has a safety help over top. And then it results in a sack for Jameis Winston. Another situation here where the Chargers are just playing some good defense. Look at zero here on this play, right? Plays this perfectly, right? Has two levels. Jameis has to make a choice. He understands that because Khalil Mack is so far up here and long, this is going to be a high ball. So he can play back closer to this over to try to defend that. You look back here, they got this bracketed right here. So that's done for. That's bracketed. That's done for. So really the only option to throw the ball is to David Njoku. But he knows that he could play this in the middle, not really have to be on David because one, the distance, right? That's a long way to a first down. And because of how the ball angle is going to be. And he just knows that he can run up and get that. Great play by him. We'll watch it again from this angle. So the Chargers defense was no joke in this game. There were times where they gave you opportunities, but they were in tough spots here, right? This is 3rd and short. The line to gain is right here, and Jameis does get the first. Ooh, that's a bad line. My bad. Here we go. All right, so Jameis does get to the line of gain here, right? And he does get the first down. That's not the problem with this play. Problem is that you had a big opportunity here, and you have to ask the question, do you want Jameis to throw this? Because boom, right here, this wheel route works. So they have Jerome Ford on a wheel. It's cover 2. He's kind of lurking over middle, which means Jerome's going to be able to run by him. And you're going to have a pretty big window here to throw that ball. Maybe this is something you expect out of a franchise quarterback. Maybe this is something you should expect out of Jameis. I think Jameis should be able to make this play. I don't think it's that difficult, right? Especially once you see that corner sit, give him a chance with that ball. Now, on the other hand, I understand the situation. It is 3rd and 4. And you also have a clear lane to this first down. In hindsight, it's easy to say throw that ball because you know the Browns needed the points. At this point, it's super early in the game, so I can understand just getting the first down. This is one of them things where it's like, I don't know what to tell you, right? Like, the touchdown was there. If he's able to throw it, it's not a super easy throw, but it is a throw that you can make. You know, you're not under duress. This is a tough one. But it's there. That was an opportunity that was there. And as good as the Chargers played, there were some opportunities here for the Browns to capitalize on. This was not one of those plays where there was an opportunity, though. Right? The Chargers locked this one up pretty sound. It's 3rd and long. Got to keep it remembering that because I know somebody's going to tell me, oh, you should have threw the check down there. Just get some yards. But 3rd and long, right? So the marker is on the 3. So that's not an option because you need to score. And if you look at it, I mean, they got this corner route tapped out, right? Because they have a guy here who can run to that ball, and then they have him lurking underneath it. That's going to be an interception if you throw it. David Njoku's pretty much clamped up here. Only thing you got is your check downs. They did it. They got in the right defensive call. And let me see what they showed earlier. Did they show too high? Yeah, they pretty much showed too high. So I would blame this one more on the play call than the execution, right? Because you ran not a 2-beater, but you ran a 1-beater or a quarter beater right into cover 2 and didn't check to nothing. So that's more on the play call. There's nothing here. There's absolutely nothing here. Like everything, if you throw it downfield, is probably an interception. Or like a 3-yard gain at most. Bad play call. Good execution by the Chargers as well. This is another interesting one, right? The Browns did not do well against these quarter cover 2 looks, right? And this is one where they could show quarter, it could be 6, but it's really cover 2. And what's going to be open here is this 9 route that's like natural within the progression of what Jameis is going to look at. Basically, you have a bit of a honey hole here, right? He's going to be in low coverage, so you have a bit of a hole here between the safeties to hit that 9. I don't love this play call on 3rd and short because if this is cover 2, the only thing that you have that Jameis can come back to is a drag route. And since it's cover 2, if he sits in that drag, a linebacker is easily going to be able to come up and make sure that's short of the line of gain. Like, I would have preferred they do something different here. But you get here, you get a clean pocket. And again, you can see how this is developing. The only thing really open here is this hole shot, which is an extremely tough throw. I would like that if we don't put our quarterback in a situation to make that throw on the first read. And then what, David Njoku's right here. Maybe if like the eyes are intentionally supposed to be at David first, but they're not. This is the natural progression of this play. His eyes are in the right place. You could work back to David, but I think you got to check to that, right? Because even David, he's not sitting there, right? He's running through it. So you would want David to sit over the ball or something. Just don't love this play call. This play call is not good. Now, Jerry Jeudy is open underneath on the drag, and it's easy to point that out. Go, oh, Jameis should have had his eyes on the drag, but this is cover 2. Your first read's not going to be the drag on cover 2, right? The drag is there so you can sit, and if they play this zone too loose because they're worried about the intermediate stuff, then you can work back to Jerry Jeudy once he sits to throw it. But this isn't like a drag versus man where you're going to throw that ball out there so he can run underneath it and try to get some yak. This is versus zone. So the principles are a little bit different here. Ideally, you would want Jerry Jeudy probably get at the sticks, right? Get a little bit deeper there. So if you're Jameis, I mean, I get being hesitant to throw that whole shot because it's tight and these corners are really good for the Chargers, right? But that's the shot right there. If you're going to throw it there. If you're not going to throw it, and this is my biggest note for Jameis, throw it fucking out of bounds. He didn't do that much this game. Like, just throw this out of bounds if you don't like it. There's no reason to take a sack here, though, right? And then he luckily bounces out of this sack, but then makes this very questionable decision here to throw across his body to Elijah Moore. You could argue he'd been better off. He just ran, right? He would have been short, but at least it would have been closer. But yeah, this is where Jameis's decision making drives you crazy. Can't make that decision. Like, I'm willing to deal with wacky Jameis Winston stuff as much as the next guy, but that kind of stuff can't just go down. It can't. It's not good. Man, you know how crazy that is to throw that? For what game? And it's not accurate, almost gets intercepted. Come on, man. What you doing? That stuff has to be taken out. Like, I'm willing to deal with some wacky shit, but that's too wacky for me. Let's see here. Njoku. What's he looking at here? They're running a wheel underneath here. I just don't get why he doesn't throw this. Right? Like, if his eyes are there, because it looks like he has 2 options for this play. There's David doing that kind of slide route that he likes to do where he kind of hooks it and then sits right there on an angle so he can then kind of like crease upfield. So just throw it. If that's where your eyes are, just throw it. It's open. And then he works back to Jerry Jeudy and he's under pressure. You can't get the ball out to him. But yeah, just get this ball to David, right? It'd have been nice if he could go work back, get it to Jerry Jeudy, but there should have been no reason for that, right? The first down marker is at the 53. You get that ball to David right there. I mean, he's going to get the first down. Like, this whole thing is like, okay, throw it to me in time, and then I'm going to slide up. And he just decides to not take it. I don't know why. So that's another one that's on Jameis here. This one, not a fan of the play call. Not a fan of this play call right here. Right? Don't get it. I know they pointed out on the broadcast that this would be open. Right? But expecting Jameis to see that, expecting like any quarterback who's not like Pat Mahomes or Joe Burrow to see that is kind of crazy. Like, even if this were Deshaun, and I've been massively critical of Deshaun this season, I wouldn't be like, oh, see, Deshaun's not seeing it. Like, nah, that's crazy. Like, this is not even in the range of things you're looking for, right? Like, this is a screen. My problem with this play is that it got called. Like, what is this? Like, it is 4th down. Why are we calling this? This is a horrible play call. Like, there's nothing here that would suggest to me that this was ever going to work. Even if the safety continued to take the bait here and drag downfield, it's what? 1-on-2? For how many yards? I don't get it. I don't get this. I don't get why this is in the play sheet. I don't get why they called it in this situation. I don't get why that didn't get challenged on the headset. Like, this to me is one of them plays where it's absolutely fair to criticize not only Ken Dorsey, but also Kevin Stefanski, because this shit's on the play sheet. It shouldn't be. This play sucks. Why are we calling that on 4th and 4? Don't know. Don't understand it. Let's go through some of the things where Jameis was just inaccurate. This is where the interceptions start coming, right? Where I'm like, hey, he made the fine decisions, just inaccurate football that caused the failure here. So Jameis, low football here. That's open. That's open. Low football, though. Doesn't get caught. You can blame it on the wide receiver, but Jameis has to put the ball closer to the box here, right? You got to hit the strike zone. You can't expect him to hit a foul ball. This one right here, high football. Again, out the strike zone. It'd be nice if David Njoku can catch that, but that route is not very effective if he has to go out of strike zone. Right? Because there's a chance that David breaks that tackle, and I think he could. But it's not going to be effective if he can't go out of strike zone. Also, this is a note here for a better quarterback. Get back to Cedric Tillman. That'd be nice. That'd be nice, too. This one was well played by Zero. Also, I think the accuracy on this is pretty poor. And I don't think the read's correct. What down is it? Is it 3rd down? Okay, so it's 3rd down. I get he's trying to make something happen here. Honestly, the only thing they're giving you in this too high look is David Njoku. So if you're going to throw this one and you're going to throw it on a line, it has to be closer to the hash and the elf than what this ball is. Right? This thing's right on the hash. You gotta, you see that the linebacker here, he roboted, right? So robot means when a linebacker turns his back to figure out where guys are. So he robots here pretty much immediately. Once you see him robot to that hash, you should know, okay, put this ball about here if you're going to throw it on a rope, which is the right decision. You want to get this out of the strike zone of this linebacker. And there is a nice little sliver here where you can get that ball, and you just got to trust Cedric Tillman to get to that spot. So that's a inaccurate football there by Jameis. Got to see the linebacker. Got to get that ball out the strike zone. You can see it here too, right? And I think he just doesn't see zero. I don't think this is a case of him being super inaccurate. I just don't think he saw him. He saw zero on the line of scrimmage and then just throws like he's not there because he's not expecting him to be there. Yeah, I just don't think he saw the linebacker. Well played by the linebacker, obviously. This is another one where if you're going to throw it, you got to put this. You got to put this a little higher. But again, I think it's not high because he doesn't see somebody. Yeah. I think he does not see 29 here. Or he anticipates that 29 is going to do something else. Yeah, I think he's thinking, 29 is going to come towards the flat. But 29, again, does an excellent job of playing this. He sees this corner fall, so he thinks, I'm going to just lay this right on Jerry Jeudy instead of layering it. And 29 makes a play on the ball here. Richard Sherman-esque interception, right? The Richard Sherman, I think it was Cam Chancellor in the NFC Championship game. Yep. Let's continue. This one, I think Jameis is just anticipating. This is dagger, or it looks like dagger at least. Right, 9, over middle. And Cedric Tillman just gets jammed up at the top of this route, unfortunately, right? Like, I think they wanted the defensive pass interference call, but they didn't get it. All right, continue on here. Again, low football, inaccurate. Should have been executed. Big play there. Inaccurate football. And let's see what happens here. Yeah, I mean, the Chargers defense did a really good job on this one. Like, they did an excellent job here. So 32. Reads what's happening here. He sees Jameis lock in underneath, and he immediately comes up. Jameis does see this, so he avoids throwing this interception, right? Which you would prefer, right? Look where the Browns are. Safer than sorry back here. And then that leads to the pocket collapsing around him. There's really not much you could do there. But yeah, I think 32, like you see 32 celebrating because he knows what he did. He completely blew that play up. Yeah. Completely blew that play up. Jameis is about to throw that. Then he sees that safety come up, thinks otherwise. Also, the line doesn't hold up great on this one, too. Right? You just look at Joel here just getting his ass beat by Joey Bosa. Again, we got to have a conversation about Joel. He's just not who he used to be. Doesn't anchor well. Gets pushed through. On the other side, we got Khalil Mack on two tight ends. And he does what you would expect Khalil Mack to do in that situation. Blow right through him. The only one who has a decent rep here is Dewan because he just does a good job of running this guy around. I guess a good job running him around. Ethan Posick has a decent rep here, but he's going up against somebody wearing number 3, so I don't think that's a linebacker. Yeah, but Joel, this tight end protection, it just didn't hold up. Also, that safety blew this thing up. And I think Jameis saw this on the iPad, right? Because you can look over here and you can see, okay, well, if he moves up again, I'm going to have Jerry Jeudy and I'm going to take that shot, or I can go back here and try to layer it over to Cedric Tillman. And I think this ended up being a mistake because later in the game on a similar concept, this happens, right? Now, it's not the same exact concept, but it's a similar route. And this is a bad ball by Jameis because I think Elijah Moore is open here. It's just behind him. Got to get that one ahead of him. There were opportunities there to make plays. Yeah. Just behind a little bit. And when you're just slightly behind and the defense is this good, they're going to make plays like that. They're going to make plays like that. Look, and I don't want to make this film review to make you think that Jameis Winston's like the worst quarterback in the world or something like that. It's not the goal of this. It's just pointing out like, okay, this is what Jameis is at times. Like he's going to be an inconsistent passer at times. There are times where he's on time, on target, and it looks good, right? Here, on time, on target, it looks good. There's a lot of times where he's on time, on target, it looks good. Right here, on time, on target, this is a beautiful ball to Jerry Jeudy, right? And this is in tight coverage. Like there's not a lot of space there being created on this play, but he finds a way to make that play happen. Like Jameis is capable of making this offense go up and down the field. And I think that was ruled a catch, or at least it wasn't an interception like it appeared. Jameis is going to have games where he is capable of moving the offense and he's going to be accurate, and Jameis is going to have moments in games of just straight up inaccuracy, right? A lot of this game, you saw a lot of straight up inaccuracy right here. It's a good ball here on the run, finding Jerry Jeudy, working back to his third progression. Good stuff here, right? Here, he has to roll out. I like this decision to throw to Jerry Jeudy back here. He gives him a ball that Jerry Jeudy can make a play on. Got to make the play, though. Jerry doesn't make the play. It's a tough play. I understand that. But at some point, we got to start expecting the Browns' offensive players to make a tough play here or there if they want to win a game versus a team like the Chargers. Right? On time, accurate throw. Good. You can move the ball. Same thing here, right? This is an example of him doing a good job layering the football. And I also bring this up to think about like, okay, if we're talking about quarterbacks in the future, what quarterbacks can work here, right? And what skill set is needed to work here. And this is definitely a skill set that's needed to work in Cleveland. Can you layer a football over a linebacker, right? That opens up so much in this offense when you could do that. Look at that. Beautiful. He can't do that consistently. That's why he's not your quarterback of the future. But you can see how the offense works a lot better when somebody does it. This one right here, Cedric Tillman's got to catch that. That just comes right off his chest. It's not on Jameis. It's a good throw, though. It's on time. It's on target. It's exactly where it needs to be. Here, Jameis gets some time. He throws downfield. This is a good ball that he throws here. Elijah Moore's got to make that play. Elijah's got to make that play. Look here. That play has to be made by Elijah. It's a tough play. It's in the sun. I get it. But like, again, no matter who's going to play quarterback for this team going forward, you're going to need your skill players to make plays. Because Pat Mahomes ain't walking off that bus, right, for the Cleveland Browns. Joe Burrow ain't walking off that bus. Lamar Jackson ain't walking off that bus. So you're going to have to elevate the quarterback play to a level, to an extent, if you want to compete long term. And yeah, I get it. Jameis is not going to be elevated to the point to where he's going to be a top-tier quarterback or even a franchise quarterback or maybe even a starter, right? Like, I think he could be propped up to being a bridge starter, but the inaccuracy at times does hurt that. But see here, you got to make these plays when they're there. Skill players got to make plays too. And there's 2 times where I'm like, hey, that could have been 3 touchdowns, right? 3 touchdowns where we're looking at in this game, and you're like, hey, if somebody could have stepped up and made a play, that's 7 points. Cedric Tillman simply catching a ball that's right on his chest doesn't make that play. Okay, fine. Then you have the Jerry Jeudy one in the back of the end zone. Can you make that play? No. Okay, that's fine. But right here, again, deep ball. It's a little bit of a tough catch, but it's certainly makeable. You just can't come down with it. We got to make these plays offensively. We're going to look fine versus defenses that aren't good with Jameis at quarterback. But when we're talking about playing the good defenses, the Pittsburghs of the world, the Chargers of the world, this lack of playmaking is going to make you look mediocre every time. Got to make those. There are opportunities in this offense consistently. And when we're on time accurate, we can make the most out of those opportunities. See Cedric Tillman here getting an easy 15. They got a stack formation here. And in this ball, boom, right on the dot, perfect spot. I'm not expecting Jameis to be accurate like this 100% of the time, or even 80% or 70% of the time. Maybe like 55% of the time. But also, these wide receivers, if Jameis is going to be the type of wide receiver to give you, quarterback to give you a chance to make a play, these wide receivers have to make those plays too. So there's criticism to be had about the offensive line from this game that's valid. There's criticism to be had about Jameis Winston. That's valid. There's a lot of criticism about the play calling in this game that I find to be valid. And also I find the criticism of some of the skill players. Like, yeah, it's nice that Jerry Jeudy had 70-something yards, but make those plays. Cedric Tillman, right? Yeah, it's nice that you had another game where you had 70 yards, but you dropped the touchdown. You should have had 2. You should have had 2 touchdowns, and the Browns should have been in this game. But instead, we don't make that play. Elijah Moore has a bomb play that he can make, that you expect him to make. I mean, this is a guy that we did a pick swap in the 3rd round for. He's got to make those plays. At some point, you got to expect these playmakers, well, not these playmakers, but these wide receivers, these skill players, to make some plays. That doesn't mean that Jameis Winston was perfect. He was not. I pointed out all the things that he did not do well in this game. It doesn't mean that the offensive line was perfect. They were not. They were horrible in the run game. And in the pass game, they were suspect at times. But still, with all of that, with all these Jameis interceptions, with all of the offensive line play, if the wide receivers just make a couple of plays down the stretch, the Browns have a chance to win this game. That's the thing that stands out to me. And I hope that's the thing that stands out to them during the bye, is that there's some chances to make some plays out there. And even against a great defense, there were some chances there. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Y'all have a great day. Have an even better night. Peace.